fiat is the autoimmune disease into humanity, because autoimmune disease is something that attacks itself. Inflation, that means a small group of people, entity, is attacking our whole human network. Bitcoin will fix this.
The goal is to inspire curiosity. You can't bring someone along the Bitcoin rabbit hole all the way through and take them by hand. That person needs to do that for themselves. So if this film inspires somebody to say, well, I need to start this journey myself.
This has to be used not just as a tool to kill central banks or anything. I don't have to do anything to kill the central banks. They are eating themselves. But I want to create this parallel system, and that would not happen if we don't do stuff.
Ivan, we're making a movie. Let's go.
Yeah, man. If it weren't for you, this would not have happened. So I'm very, very excited. Awesome stuff.
Yeah, man, let's talk all about it. I want to learn a little bit more about Bulgaria. People all over the world are just now hearing for the first time about what's happening in Bulgaria, and I think it's super exciting. I'm as a storyteller, just could not be more fired up about telling a story around Bitcoin, but specifically something that has just never been told before. So why don't you just give us a little background of, I think a good place to start is like who you are, your background, and I'll do the same in a second, but what led us to this moment where we're on a call from two sides of the world and working together hand in hand on this project?
Yeah, I would say the catalyst is obviously Bitcoin. So we would not have met in any shape or form. We wouldn't have the same values. This is the common thing that attracted us to each other. But on my side, why I think that we are ready in Bulgaria to show what we do is because I would say 3 years ago when I was starting in Bitcoin, to understand what it is, the space was, I wouldn't say crowded, but definitely everything was happening on podcasts in Bulgaria. There are a few big ones, a lot of crypto ones, and everybody is talking and listening and hodling in secret. And when I came into the scene and what we discussed into your third episode where you interviewed me, is that for me it's much deeper than the money. This has to be used not just as a tool to kill central banks or anything. I don't have to do anything to kill the central banks. They are eating themselves. But I want to create this parallel system. And that would not happen if we don't do stuff other than buying and waiting for other people to do stuff. If we all buy and wait, nothing happens. And I started with just creating Bitcoin meetups in my hometown. And I committed myself to doing them twice a month. Out of that, I remember the fifth time, maybe, I went to the meetup and nobody came. Like, even though I was calling people and no coiners to come in and learn about this cool thing that is revolutionizing our world, the fifth time, nobody came. And I knew that this is just part of the process, but I was committed. And I said, yeah, I would love to say that thing 2 years ago when I am on a podcast somewhere. So here it is. Yeah. And the seventh or eighth time, we got our first traction where from other cities, people joined in. And it wasn't a big crowd, but we were, I think, 10 people in that meetup. And from that meetup, I said, okay, the wheel is starting to turn. And out of that meetup, one person got excited, and he is one of our co-producers about making the movie, George Nikolov. He said, okay, I'm going to go around our whole country, Bulgaria, and verify the BTC map. Who is actually a BTC merchant and who is not. And out of that tour of Bulgaria, he drives a motorcycle. So with that is also uh, uh, people say a lot of freedom comes with riding a bike, but when he went around our country, he saw what's um, still works as a merchant, somebody that accepts Bitcoin and who is not valid yet. And out of that, he said, okay, this is very important. In order to push the mission forward, what we discussed in my meetup, merchants are incredibly important to that mission, because if we can't buy stuff with Bitcoin, that means Bitcoin is not a medium of exchange, and that means Bitcoin failed. And out of that, he said, we need a catalyst for those merchants to actually pop up in our country more and more. And he created a conference that is designated for those merchants. We talk about how to treat Bitcoin by the laws in Europe, in our country. Then we talk about how to market it to Bitcoiners and to normies, to everybody that you accept Bitcoin. And the third part of the conference is technically, how do we do it? And the fourth part we integrated later is that if you're a merchant, you can actually come to the conference that you showcase your stuff and you actually sell it for sats. That was the first, I would say, passing the baton to that guy. The other thing that happened is it was a little bit earlier than me joining, but Plamen Andonov, the biggest podcaster, started creating a conference. And out of that conference, I don't know how he managed to do it, but he attracted Jeff Booth, Natalie Bruneo, Greg Foss to come to my hometown. And because of him, I actually managed to find work in my current company, Breez. So he passed the baton to me about this, and this is just two examples of the social network, how it affects change. And this is what I'm trying to do more and more, that out of those meetups, I understood a very important lesson. I thought that through the Bitcoin meetups, I'm going to orange peel normies. And that was false. Absolutely false. The thing that was extremely valuable out of those meetups is to find the people that are building. The people that would build would come and show up to those meetups. And out of that, I can help them, because if I help a normie to become a Bitcoiner, that means I'm adding 1% to it. But if I help a builder, now we together may orange peel 100 people, 10 people. Now we can scale. And it comes for what I said in the introduction in Bulgaria, that the people that are building is what makes things happen. It's not just buying and waiting. So I'll stop here, but those are really the motivations out of why we need to tell this story, because Bulgaria now we have enough people that are building separate things that we have enough material to showcase it to the international audience.
I love it. Great intro. And a bunch of stuff that you mentioned there. Number one, if you haven't listened to it, it was my third episode on the podcast, and we talked deeply about this concept of permissionless work, just doing work without asking for permission. A lot of people, they want to make a change in their life. They want to live a better life, right? That's what we all want to do. But we're kind of asking for permission, like applying to jobs or looking for somebody to open a door for us. And maybe you could just briefly tell how you got the job. I believe you're the first Bulgarian to work at Breez, and that door did not open by you just asking, right? You actually went and did stuff. So why don't you explain a little bit about that concept? Because I think it's very fundamental to, I mean, I keep just going back to permissionless, right? Like the Bulgarians, in my view, they're not looking to the government to ask for some like Bitcoin reserve. They're just focused on actually building things. Is that a good assessment? And what am I missing or not understanding about this concept of permissionless work?
Yeah, you get it, the concept itself. In Bulgaria, I'm not certain if somebody is trying to orange peel our government or some local mayor or stuff like that. It may happen, but it's not in my view. Even if it is happening, it's a bit under the radar. What I'm emphasizing with permissionless work is, we talked again in your podcast, but for me, we start with doing work for fun, doing work that interests us, doing work that excites us, just for the sake of it, when we're 3 years old.
Hold on, I just have to interrupt you really fast because
Yeah.
I was literally just writing down be great for the sake of it, like just being great. So the fact that you said that as I was writing that down is just crazy. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, but we start there, so that means it's in our nature. Like, I don't know if God gives us, or biology or what, whoever wants to believe everything. So this is within us. This is how we start our journey. But when we go to school, now they indoctrinate us, and the asking for permission is what we learn out of all of the system, out of educational system, out of the medical system, out of then going to work, out of everything comes into this shape that you have to salute or obey certain authority, and if they give you permission, then you do, and you're allowed to do what they do, or they tell you, oh, you're not going to do it this way, do it that way. But that is learned thing out of all of those systems. But if you go back to being a kid, you're not going to ask if you want to jump into the puddle of mud. You're going to do it because you like it, because you want to explore the world. And out of that, you might actually go and do and learn how to clean yourself. You might want to go jump into the pool. You start learning how to swim. And if you actually trace that interest of yours, you might become an Olympic gold medalist in swimming, because you naturally follow your interest. So the rewards come after you do the work, just like Bitcoin. And that's what I love in Bitcoin, that proof of work is the fundamental thing, that you get rewards after you do the work. There is a proof of stake in Bitcoin, how much you have, but that's on top of what you did. So that's what I'm going against a little bit, all of the systems. And I don't know what I'm going to do, in a sense, in 2 years, in 3 years. I had no idea when we recorded last year the podcast that we are going to make a movie. This just happened out of my interest, out of my opportunity, out of me liking you, and maybe you liking Bulgaria and stuff like that. So that also I know that is much more exciting than, oh, let's plan everything, like predict stuff so you know how to react, you need to be prepared. But if you're just an explorer, you come on a journey with somebody, with the universe, and you're part of it, but along the way you're doing valuable stuff in order to be attractive, because the word work is a very important thing, because I don't know if in America is a common saying, but here in Bulgaria, a lot of people say that I'm not working if somebody is not paying me. Like, I'm not going to do work for free. And that's, again, this bias of all the structures that are forcing us to ask permission, but also that you're doing work for yourself. If you want to go to the fridge and eat, you have to walk. So that is work, and we're constantly doing stuff for free, but the rewards that are on the other side are valuable enough in order to continue doing that work. And that's what I follow. I'm going to do all sorts of works in my life, and I follow my interest, because if I have interest, if I'm passionate about it, I'm going to persevere the hard times. I'm going to persevere the things that are against me of doing it. Because if I'm disinterested, it's completely logical to quit, because I'm not going to follow a reward that I'm not passionate about, and my appreciation is not going to be enough to justify the cost of all that struggle in the process. But doing the work and following your interest is exactly the things that are much, much more valuable, not only for me, because I gain skills, but also, again, going back to the social network. And that's how I figured out, and as I said, that is what connects me to builders, because if I follow that interest and we connect on that common interest, now it's not only me doing the work. Now we are truly a network, and what I can do alone is so much smaller than if I'm with somebody, if I am with a network. And I'm absolutely certain that if I decided to make the movie and I didn't meet you, that would be horrible, because I would probably not even try to make a movie, because I'm not a videographer. But because we connected and I managed to infect you with my interest, then you said yes. But then I'll ask you, like, why did you decide to follow this interest of mine, and at what point it became an interest of yours?
It's a good question. And there's just, I just have to say, like, the thing that I've seen more and more is like curiosity is almost a superpower. If you are genuinely curious about something, you will read books about it. You will go out of your way. You're not worried about, oh, am I getting paid for this? Is this something that's going to generate revenue for me? That was the mentality that I fell into. I was, we're all born creative. Like you said, like the kids playing in the mud. I was just down in Mexico last week, and the kids had a hose, a shovel, some dirt. They were lighting a fire, and they just were having a blast for like 4 hours while all the adults are sitting there like, I'm not going in the mud. And there's something a little bit sad, I guess, about how the system, not just schooling, indoctrinates us. I 100% agree, but just generally in society, we fall into these ruts that actually limit our ability to be curious. And in my view, this is why I started this podcast, We Are Satoshi, and this is why I'm attracted to this, is Bitcoin, because it's a tool to allow you to go back to that state of curiosity and exploration. I was out of college. I had found like filmmaking. I was always a business student. I was always thinking, like, how do I, make money and provide for myself and these sorts of things. And I had a journalism professor who was like, dude, you're so passionate about this. Like, you should definitely, consider this a viable career path. Olivier Morel, French guy, awesome. I need to get him on the podcast at some point. But even as I got into storytelling, I was still I never found this like deep sense of drive and motivation and passion like some other photographers or creatives will say, like, oh, it's just I found my thing. And for me, I tried it. I worked on multiple documentaries, a lot of stuff in the outdoors. I'm a big fan of just getting outside, going in the mountains. I helped make a film about a watercolor painter who was painting on site in nature. So he brings his watercolors. Anyways, I just never found that like deep sense of passion, if I'm being honest, until I found Bitcoin. And so when you reached out to me with the story and the idea to film this and make this film in Bulgaria, my fiat mind was like, man, this is going to be a big, big amount of work, right? This is a huge commitment. And so I had to think about it. And I basically, after reflecting, thinking about it, it was like, this is an obvious yes, you know, the calculation of like how much time is this going to take and things like that. It's almost irrelevant in my mind. Like I'll be after we film in Bulgaria, I will be, it's the ball is now in my court as an editor to bring the story together. So I think there's going to be a number of challenges that we face along the way, and I could kind of see those, and those could easily deter me from wanting to do this. It's like, well, this is a huge amount of work. I could do 50 podcasts, or I could take on these clients or whatever. And just really like revisiting, like, what are the values? What are like, are my actions aligned with my values is the question that I asked often, and often they're not aligned. And that leads to sadness, you know, like unhappiness. So I guess to answer the question, man, it's the story. It's like the most exciting story I've ever had the opportunity to tell. And I genuinely believe Bitcoin is a revolutionary technology that can elevate humans out of a system of slavery. And that's not hyperbolic. I'm not exaggerating. Like, we all around the world live under this system where we work, we trade our time and our energy and our blood, sweat, and tears for something that somebody else can make for free, can print. And so the opportunity to be living in this time, I just try and like center myself on that. It's like we're living through a genuine revolution. If the revolution in the United States, which led to a lot of the abundance and prosperity that the people of America, of the United States, have experienced, I now see this as the entire globe, 8 billion people now have this opportunity. And yeah, agree 100% on the builders being the ones that actually move the needle. I think spending your time and energy trying to orange pill one person, if it's like your loved one or your family member, maybe there's some reason to try and bring them on the life raft. But there's all these people that I think, like, my take here would be like, there are people who are sitting right now at home listening to podcasts thinking, I want to build something. And so if they can watch this film and say, look what they did in Bulgaria with 0 resources, with 10 people in the room. Ivan showed up. Nobody showed up for one of the meetings. Like, you could have said, this is not working, right? The fiat mindset would be like, oh, well, clearly this is not working because nobody showed up. So that's the market telling me, you know, to give up. But no, you had a vision that was a longer time horizon. And now to be sitting here, actually just what are we, 2 months from filming? No, 3 months.
3 months, yeah.
June.
And
so
yeah, going back to it, like, if we measure everything in money, we're going to miss living. Even if currently you're a Bitcoiner and the only thing that you can see is how much is the amount of Satoshis in your hardware wallet, you're going to miss everything else. Like, that is not the true purpose of living. The whole thing is that what you said, people are kind of stuck in fiat and Bitcoin liberates them, but it's not really that Bitcoin liberates them, but Bitcoin actually lets them live because nobody is extracting their resources. Because in the current system, even if you try to live passionately about what you want to pursue, you have to manage all that resource extraction out of your life. Because if you don't deal with it, that will force you into survival. Because if you cannot eat, that's more important than making a movie, let's say. But when you get in Bitcoin and you know that what you have there is secure, it's not only about the time perspective, but also now for the first time ever, you have the ability to explore what you are actually interested in. Like, you might find out that what you're currently working on, you don't want to deal with. And because you set aside some buffer that nobody is extracting away the purchasing power of it, but data grows more and more. That means you can devote 2% time more into the other thing that I'll chase what I'm interested in, not what my boss tells me, what my teacher told me, what my parents told me, or whatever. Then when those 2% actually lead to some results, then you unlock even more intense interest. Then you devote 4 times, then 4%, then 10%, then 20%, more and more, and that other thing overwhelms your entire life. Not overwhelms is not the right word, but that takes over more, and you completely dealt with the toxicity, the extractive nature of the fiat system. And now that you are not just flying, but nobody is dragging you down, and now you have the freedom to do whatever you like. Because I would really love everybody to not only think, oh, do I have one Bitcoin? Because that's the mental gymnastics that everybody is doing on podcasts. Oh, get to one Bitcoin, get to one Bitcoin. Like, why is that number relevant to people? Like, it's just a number. Why not? What do I want in my life? I want a house, I want a car, I want 2 kids, my expenses for 50 years or whatever till I'm living. Make that amount, and if you're in America, that amount may be 60 Bitcoin. But if you're in Africa, that amount might be 0.6 Bitcoin. So you have to individualize the exact number, not just some random number because we call 100 million Satoshis one Bitcoin. That's completely random and irrelevant to people. So that's what I want to focus on. And when you focus on that, what are we going to actually accomplish? Like, I am so excited about that future because I'm so excited to be part of history, to how Steve Jobs said, like, make a ding in the universe. But I'm not going to make such an impact like he did, but I know that I am changing the course of my family. I am changing the course that I'm connected to, my friends, my family, my relatives. All of those, I will have that influence because I will build that infrastructure for them. And that's what I want to see. And that's what I want to show, because it has nothing to do about writing code. It has nothing to do about the price of Bitcoin and the fiat price. It has everything to do. What do you want to have in your life, and what is the life that you want to lead?
It's very well said. The price is a huge distraction because it's like irrelevant to price your life in terms of a system that's stealing from you. Like, if you're doing that, you're actually feeding that system, which is something Jeff Booth says, which we all fall into it, right? We look at the price and we think,
We start there.
Yeah.
Like, it's inescapable because we all started, and I started there because you have the fiat glasses too, and you start there. But I'm saying there's something beyond it, much richer, and Jeff Booth says it much better.
Yeah, I know there's two of the most common deathbed regrets, and I learned this in my early 20s. Number one is I didn't spend enough time with my family. Number two is I worked too hard. So if those are the two most common deathbed regrets, those are two things I want to avoid. Like, I project one really valuable tool that I've gained a lot of value from is projecting into the future and imagining looking back as an old man and looking back at your life and saying, you know, what did I do? Right? It's how many dollars you have. You can't take those with you to the grave. What I want is not necessarily just to leave a legacy for the sake of it, but to show my next generation, hopefully I'll have kids in the next couple years, I want to show them that if you follow your passions, if you work hard, if you align with people that value that work, which is hard to do a lot of the time because, again, like your story that you were telling around being someone who wants to be great for the sake of it, if you're surrounded by people that don't align with that, then your work maybe goes unseen. Or, think about the mom who's working 3 jobs to pay for the kids to go to school or whatever. Like, she's working harder than me and you maybe, but that she's stuck in the system that doesn't actually value that. In my view, there's a place in Bitcoin for literally anybody, doesn't matter what you do or what your profession is. It's a new frontier for people to plug into, to find a network, not only to store their wealth and their value, but like as you mentioned, the social layer. When you are in that community, the motivation that you get from one more person saying, "Hey, love what you're doing, keep it going." It's like, it's hard to put words on it. Like, even in the last couple weeks, we've been sharing updates about this film every couple weeks. Just, hey, here's where we're at, and maybe we can talk a little bit about some of the stuff we've done to set ourselves up to make this thing. But when someone texts me or tweets at me and says like, "It's really cool," that's all I have to hear. It's like, okay, I'm not doing something crazy, or I'm going in the right direction. And that feeling for me is so motivating. It's waking up in the morning, and the first thing I do is I come down, drink my coffee, start setting up for this podcast. Right. So yeah, any comments on that? Maybe we could talk a little bit about what we've done and sort of how the team's coming together and the way we're putting this film together.
Yeah. Before that, just a comment about the second regret is that definition of work is a fiat work, because in the parallel system, you're not going to regret raising great kids. You're not going to regret having a great career, but that is work that you want to do, that you want the rewards for. You are going to regret going and achieving the goals of somebody else, because even if you have your own goals, that will require work, and you're not going to regret doing it, especially if you achieve them. But if you're going to help somebody else achieve their goals, yeah, and the price was you not achieving your own, which is commonly in the fiat system, especially if you're an employee. That's exactly how it happens. If you're an employee, that means that you're contributing more to somebody else's goal than your own. And because people are exhausted and tired and don't have any spendings, that means the rest of the time they don't even have the energy, not alone the interest or everything else that we talked about. They don't have the physical energy to go pursue their own goals, and they're stuck. And the only thing that would get you unstuck out of that cycle, again, we talked about Bitcoin. But now to get into the movie itself, and that's part of the story what I want to tell. Like, here in Bulgaria, we have, as I mentioned, enough material and enough initiatives that are cool. Some of them are unique, and those people to show the journey, how they realized some of the things, what they're doing, how they're not touching the price itself, but they're building the rails, they're building the roads, as they say, and there's no country involved, even though we're in one country, but we are connecting on a social level, and we decide, I have this particular skills, I have this particular interest, so I'm going to pursue this, that I'm going to put on top of Bitcoin. I'm going to put it into that network. So if I make this area, make this merchant, make this network more valuable, I benefit. If I do the same, they benefit. And that's the beauty of Bitcoin, but because we're not against each other, because in the employer mentality and that type of work, you have to negotiate your salary against your employer. And how much do I work in that job? What is the appropriate amount of me working there? Because I don't receive a share out of the revenue. On the other side, the employer has all sorts of risks, and he has to pay a fixed price for every employee, that if he loses money, the employee is going to say, give me my salary. Like, that's not a dynamic that I really like. In the Bitcoin system, we thrive and suffer together. And that's why when the bear market comes, the real true Bitcoiners, the builders, are actually, they're still feel pain, but they are much more forced. This is the system forcing us to do even better, because we know that future is almost inevitable at that point, but it's not going to happen if more and more people come in and they just hodl. More and more people come in and they print money to buy Bitcoin. It's going to centralize everything and they're going to capture us. We need to get the sats flowing. We need to get that infrastructure ready. So when 100 million people are ready to jump in, to be able to do it. Not, oh, I'm going to block everything. I'm not going to allow you to buy it on exchanges. I'm not going to allow you this. I'm going to restrict how much money you're allowed to extract from your ATM. All sorts of things that we ask permission again from all sorts of institutions. But if we get that parallel system going and the infrastructure is there, you go and you do your work that is not, you don't have to ask permission to do any type of work. And if you want to paint, if you want to sell something, if you want to give your skills to that network, somebody on the other side can pay you directly in Bitcoin. And that is not touching any fiat infrastructure, and the sats flow. That means that when I receive those sats, I can set aside some of it, and then I go buy a sandwich, then I go buy a conference ticket, and that infrastructure needs to be developed, and that is how we get into the other system. It's not going to be, oh, should the banks have a license to buy Bitcoin? I don't care. I want people to be in it. I don't care about the institutions.
And you're not also saying, they shouldn't, right? You're not spending your time and energy saying, oh, that's not what Satoshi wanted or something like that. Like Bitcoin is for enemies, Bitcoin is for everyone. So you have it's like complaining about something that's just inevitable or just is what it is. That time and energy is wasted. And
absolutely, that's what I focus on, that they can do whatever they want. Like, just like the central banks, I don't have to spend any energy in order for them to fail. Like any. I am focusing on something else. And not only that, but can you imagine that right now we are trying to make a movie and I'm engaged into another movie? My focus is going to be split. What is one narrative? What is the other? But if you actually can focus on one thing, that one thing can be much better. Much more ideas are going to come that will make it better. The actions will be focused. Everything will be focused. That is how I view it. It's not that I should stop them, and I pay attention what's kind of happening, but I don't spend any work doing and helping them or being against them. I am spending things to develop again the parallel system.
Absolutely. And time is our most valuable resource. When you have a salaried job, you like you said, if I've had a job in the past where I have these passions that I want to work on the side, and yet they just go weeks and weeks and months, and I don't actually move the ball. I almost, I describe it as like selling myself short. Like, you have gifts that you are put on this world to bring to your community and your family, and it's going to eat you alive. At least it was eating me alive, knowing that I was not pursuing those things. So I think the other thing I just wanted to mention was just that the bright orange future is not guaranteed. Like, that's another thing where I've seen many Bitcoiners kind of fall into this thing of like, number go up, it's going up. Like, Bitcoin is TikTok next block. Bitcoin doesn't care. That's true. But in my view, like, there's alternative futures where Bitcoin just becomes a store of value and not a medium of exchange. Like, that's a real chance. And so without actually people starting, like, how many people in Bulgaria really were at the start of like this movement? Is it 5, 10, 20? Obviously we don't know all of them, which we're going to find more of
Yeah.
them along the way, but like how small, and then once you realize like 5 or 10 people had this impact, then you start to think like, oh, I could have an impact like that too. It's not this mindset of like, oh, I'm just a cog in a corporation, in a machine, and if they fire me tomorrow, like I had this experience. Our whole company got acquired, and then everybody was fired one day, and it was an eye-opening thing, because I was like, oh, I thought I was critical to this business. I was only critical to this business with the current strategy and the current plan that we had. But the higher ups, the owners of the business said, no, we're not going that direction. We don't really care about how much work you guys have done. 8 months of planning and preparing and doing all this laying of foundation to set ourselves up. But yeah, talk a little bit about just like the origins of some of the people and the impacts that they've had in the early days.
Yeah. As I said, it started at least when I came into Bitcoin in 2022, January 2022. Then it was podcasting mainly, so the knowledge was permeating through our country, but the actions were barely scratching the surfaces. There were some meetups here and there. The first bigger thing is Plamen made the first conference. He made it with only Bulgarian speakers the first time. Then he managed to invite Jeff Bolt, as I said, that was the second one. And at that point, I came into play after the second conference. After I came into play, George Nikolov came into play. Last year, no, I think now it's year and a half almost. Botev Plovdiv, the football club with George Monolov, came into play because he translated the Bitcoin standard in Bulgarian language, and out of that work, that other opportunity came to him. He didn't search for it. It presented itself at some point, and now he is the Bitcoin director in the football club, and he also be in the movie, of course. But I would say to not go over everyone, in the beginning, it started with one, Plamen Andonov. He translated the knowledge into physical thing. Then me came in, and I when I, as I said, when I started the meetups and figured out, let's say around the 10th, 11th meetup, that okay, I shouldn't pursue no coiners. I should pursue the doers, the people that are building. Then I intentionally started to see who is building and who is not, and not only for me to help them, but how can I connect them to somebody else? And I was struggling a lot of the time, and quite a few projects that I wanted to connect one with the other fell through. But again, the universe works in mysterious ways that it came this opportunity that I can combine all of them, not just two of them to help each other, all of them, and it will manifest in this movie. And again, you came to me, you came to Bulgaria. I didn't have to search for you. We became kind of close out of the conference in Bulgaria, and then we continued our relationship in BTC Prague. The other silent co-founder of the movie, like I didn't ask for it. We were discussing some stuff in Bulgaria, and he was saying, I want to give some money. Like I don't want to die the richest man or whatever. I want to give some money for this, not for this, but for something that will emphasize and facilitate Bitcoin adoption and building this parallel system. And I had no idea what to offer him. Like he was thinking maybe we give some people so they go from door to every business to onboard them. And I said, like, this is an uphill battle and you are just going to waste your money. Like it needs to be much more organic. And at some point when I approached you and I asked you, would you record the conference? And that idea kind of fell through. and I was the day that I scheduled a call with you and to tell you this will not happen. I had no idea still that we're going to make a movie. But I woke up that morning and I said, why should I waste the opportunity? The guy agreed to be gracious with your skills and to record something. And that idea came to me in the morning after I woke up when I already scheduled the meeting to cancel your services. And I asked you, would you do this? And then if you obviously remember, but it took like maybe 2 months to figure out if it's actually going to happen, how it's going to happen, because you had, I wouldn't say a crisis, but you had some struggles on your end, and that kind of took the wind out of my sails. Okay, this is probably not going to happen. And the very last thing that I said, okay, we are either doing it or we are not doing it. I have to pull the plug if you don't contribute something, if you're just not interested, because we don't have the millions of budget to create this movie, so you're financially incentivized. You have to be going back to the work that interests you. If the interest is not pulling you to do it, that means that this will be a crappy project and I'll pull the plug. But when I saw, okay, something changed, you did a little bit of work, okay, it's go time. And you said, yes, I'm committed, I'll do it, but I'll let you tell on the other side that journey of 2 weeks to actually commit and do the thing.
Yeah, it was interesting because of just the timing of how, a year ago, literally 1 year ago, I made my first post on Nostr, and I said I had left my supplement company and I had this opportunity to kind of reevaluate what direction I want to go. I said on Nostr, I'm moving my professional time and energy towards Bitcoin. I just knew that that's the direction I needed to go, and I still believe that that is the direction to continue moving. And so really, I was journaling every single day on one prompt, which is, what do you really want? It's a very simple prompt. It was not my idea. One of my biggest mentors and my old boss in my previous job gave me that advice. Like, hey, I was kind of just explaining to her, like, I just don't quite know like what I'm doing, and I don't have a clear vision for the future. Like, I know I want more out of life, or I know I want to be fulfilled, but I didn't have like the vision. And so when you presented this to me, I still was in that place of like, I had been journaling for over a month at that point. Like, what do I want? What do I want? And you sent me a Joe Dispenza podcast. And there was just, I mean, the guy is obviously just a legend for a reason, right? And the power of that visualization. I had all these different opportunities coming my way for 2025, and I had no idea, what to do. I just knew that I didn't have enough time to do it all, right? So I think just really reflecting on that again, going back, like actions and values. Like if my actions are not aligned with my values, then that's going to eat me alive. So yeah, you basically were getting on that last call to tell me, like, Kyle, you're not interested. You haven't really put in the proof of work to show that you want to really do this. And little did you know that I had spent a few days before that actually thinking it through and put a little document together of what I thought the vision could be, actually getting to know the characters and understand the impact that this transition is having on their lives. Do you have any anecdotes or stories or just like thoughts on that specifically?
For my perspective, I dove really deep, really fast, and people usually take at least one cycle to get to the conviction that I have. But I had fiat experiences that anchored me to appreciate Bitcoin on a deeper level than the money, than the fiat price, and that's why I got deeper faster. But people in general, you see that one of the persons quit their job. Right now, he does whatever he wants. Like, and he wants to do Bitcoin. He wants to build on Bitcoin. Like, Bitcoin gave him, and the only logical reason for him to actually continue is to make the Bitcoin system stronger, because that's also in his self-interest. But by doing this, he's so connected to everything and everyone that has some ties to Bitcoin in Bulgaria that he leads a rich life, and he is not laying down what in the fiat systems tell us. Oh, you have to wait for the retirement and all of the good years and you travel and stuff like that. No, your good years are past. Like you you are now old and you can't move that well like in your 20s, your 30s, and now with all the extractions, this is your price that you stop moving, and people die, I think, 5 years after retirement because they don't work. But he decided, okay, I'm now retired. Now I don't want to be a billionaire. I don't want to be a multimillionaire and stuff like that. I just want to lead the life that I want to lead. And he builds on Bitcoin. He goes to vacations. He creates some stuff. You'll see in Bulgaria what he does. So, yeah, like that is completely changing the lives. But even if you decide not to retire, even though he's working, my life, when I came into, how would I predict that I'll meet Jeff Bezos? Like, I have to chase him and maybe something happens. Life made it in such a way that he came to me. He told me that there's a conference in Bulgaria about Bitcoin and that he is coming. Like, you can't predict that. And I did strategize how to make an impression on him, but how I never actually asked. He offered to stay connected. Like, yeah, good on me in some part, but good on him about his character. And he recognized something that I could be an important person. He recommended me to Breez, and the good thing is that now, for 2 years, we're good with the company. That means that if I wasn't the proper choice, they were going to fire me the first few months. So I proved that I'm somewhat valuable, so that's why I stayed. But even after I started working at Breez, I created, as I said, the meetups. Then I created, I wouldn't say created, but I started writing articles. I had no idea that I would write. Like, I never written outside of school that they forced me. So I'll say that it wasn't me. But right now, I love writing, even though it's a struggle. I love the end result. And I'll publish my next article probably the next few weeks. This is, again, enriching my life, my experience. This is changing my life, even though I'm not retired, even though I don't have the Bitcoin bag that I can do everything and anything that I want, but I'm pursuing what I want. And that's the richness for me. So that is how lives are changing. And it's not changing, oh, Bitcoin pumps up tomorrow 10x and yeah, I won the lottery and then I start spending it and I become more and more degenerate. Like, I'm not interested in that. Let's go systematically build the lives, and not only that, but you help and you will be the virus for the people around you, because the people that are thinking, oh, we need to change our leader, we need to change parties, we need to change this and that for the permission. So I'm not interested in any of those. Even though they are part of our lives, if you unplug from everything and you plug to this new system, that would plug you to the real Bitcoiners that are actually building, and they will enrich your life so much more. Because I'm absolutely sure that you said 1 year ago you committed to, okay, I will build on Bitcoin in my own way. How many people did you meet? How many people did they come to you? How many people donated their time, their effort, their sats to you? I bet that it's not on one hand. But in fiat, because you're forced to survive, even if you have a big network, they are trying to extract because it's survival. And you have to protect yourself in all sorts of ways. In this new system, you don't think, oh, how can I cheat, steal, and lie to this person? Because if you do it once, you forever lose their friendship, and this you're going to be kicked out of the network, the social network, not only from the Bitcoin. I don't want that to happen ever. That means that I will help you make a conference. I will help you for the becoming a Bitcoin director. I will help you find a job, because if I help you, your life will be richer, and you will give back to me, or give back to a third person that he'll give back to me. All of us benefit on this new system, and that's what I want to see more and more. And what Jeff Boss says, if you completely unplug, you completely, I wouldn't say completely still, but you disassociate from the price the best way possible, because now I can afford so much more stuff, and either I buy them with Bitcoin or not, it really doesn't matter. Sometimes people will give me stuff that I want because I did an effort to them. That's again an exchange that in fiat system, it's always going to be, oh, how much do I get? In the Bitcoin system, I don't need to get anything. I have stuff. How much can I give becomes the question.
I've had opportunities to travel the world. Like I had like someone, Luke Broyles is the YouTuber. He was the first person to really open the door into the Bitcoin community. He tweeted, I was actually on like a corporate client in Florida in a hotel room, and I saw this, someone tagged me in his tweet saying, I need a videographer to come to El Salvador for the halving party. And I just responded, I'm your guy, let's go. And we were on DMs messaging, and he had no idea who I was, like, were we going to be a good fit, anything like that. But because I was willing and able to, just say I'm dropping what I'm doing and I'm traveling on this date, that's now led to, I've been to like at least a half a dozen conferences, which I find pretty interesting because these conferences don't really make money. Like if you think about it, it's almost always like a passion project for somebody, and every single time, especially the small conferences, but all of them, there are critical people to help make it happen that are not getting paid. They're just genuinely want to make this impact in the world. And so, yeah, being surrounded by people like that, it's contagious. And it enriches my life just to be surrounded by people like that. And I think that's largely why I was attracted to you guys. Like there's something about Bulgarians, and I haven't quite put words on it. Maybe you can tell me if this is too out of line, but my girlfriend's Mexican. I freaking love Mexicans in Mexico. I just love their culture. I think Bulgaria is the Mexico of Eastern Europe in the nicest way. Like people are direct. They really value their culture. From my very limited understanding, Bulgaria was under both communist rule and also Turkish for 500 years before that, and yet still maintained a sense of identity. And there's just something special about, in the United States, we project our views of what life is like here to the other 7.5 billion people around the world. And actually, it's funny because we have unlike any other species on Earth, we have this capacity to empathize. Like this is why filmmaking is so powerful, because when you watch a film and you resonate with somebody in that film, it's like, it's a way to understand the human experience in a broader way, right? And so I hope that that's something that we're able to do in this film, is like really show people the potential of Bitcoin, also what's happened so far. But again, we're so early that just the idea for a better future, and I just think that's gonna be a huge theme going throughout the film. Let me see if I have anything. I was going to ask the concept of like the law of attraction. It's a little woo woo, sort of like new age thing, but I do believe it's true. I've never had a resume. I had a fiat job in college. I did an internship and I was in a technology consulting company. It was like a very high end, like, these people, it's like a very good company to get a job at. And I looked around and everybody had, tons of wrinkles. They would complain about their drive to work every single day. And on the surface, from the outside, these people might look successful. I actually came from a very wealthy, successful community, and yet many of the people that I grew up with found themselves depressed or lacking purpose in life. And so I struggled with that as well, right? Because I didn't have the drive to like put food on the table. I had to project into the future of like, I know that like worst come to worst, I can go live in my parents' basement and there's going to be food on the table. I'm not going to die. So then what really is going to motivate me to work hard is this idea of like time is limited and what are you going to do with your precious time?
Yeah, but going back to what we discussed, you have to pursue the thing that you want, because if you pursue the thing that somebody else has for themselves and you are actually doing the work for them, that depletes you, because internally, even if you don't realize it, you know that something is not quite right. Like, I don't want this. I have some money about it, but if you don't view that particular part, even if you work for somebody, that this is part of what I want to do, you're going to struggle. You're going to think how to get out. And if you don't think how to get out, you're just suffering. Suffering is not having pain. Suffering is continuous thing that something is wrong and I feel crappy about it, and at some point it could get ugly. But even if you are not like me to have the privilege to work for a company that completely aligns with your character, with what you want to do in the world, and they just amplify your mission, you should view any work as temporary. That yes, this is just a stepping stone to what I want to achieve. So if you're not open to all those opportunities, you are just going to stay there and the suffering will continue. But again, if you unplug even from all of that, if you're on the Bitcoin network, it's very weird how probably with any Bitcoiner that I met, our values are between 80 and 90% probably aligned. And I know that when we met in Sofia, we spent, I wouldn't say a whole day, but let's say half a day showing you around our city. And I don't have to know everything that you are, everything that you've been through. We're connected in such a meaningful way, and we had a very cool, nice time in that part. And you resonate on a higher frequency than, oh, my boss was this way. And you say, oh, yeah, I have the same problem. Like, people are bonding on their struggle. And the Bitcoiners are bonding on their thriving and their enjoyment. That's a completely different type of bonding, and you amplify each other, because if you bond on your struggle, on your suffering, you're going to amplify that also. And no wonder why you start attracting even more people like that. And Bitcoiners are resonating, oh, I'm so passionate about this and I'm not making any money, but I'm going to do it because I have Bitcoin savings. And out of nowhere, somebody else will come to you, or because you're so passionate about this and you say it in a podcast, you say it with a person, they will introduce you that you had no finger, no working out of anything. They will introduce you to the opportunity that you want. And if they introduce you to that opportunity, how are you going to treat that person on the other side? You would want to help them in the same manner. And that is the very beautiful thing that I knew intellectually, even before my Bitcoin days, but Bitcoin gave me the opportunity to actually manifest this in a much more tangible way, that I knew that making the Bitcoin meetup is just the startup. This is just the opportunity. And now I know that when we make the movie, it's not going to be a blockbuster or anything. My goal is what we said. We want to inspire that particular action. Plug into the social network and do stuff and be amazed of what Bitcoiners are going to give back to you, because it's just on the same level, on the same frequency, that you're going to receive so much more than just waiting for that fiat price to go up. And waiting for that fiat price to go up is, for me, a lot of suffering. Like, I don't know why people are saying, oh, when Bitcoin comes down is such a hard time and this and that. Again, you're plugged into the fiat. Get out of it, because when Bitcoin price goes down and you have a Bitcoin flow, that means that you love it. That's you receive more Bitcoin for the same amount of work that you're doing. Like, you're not going to be trading. Like, oh, it's going down, so I can have less dollars in Bitcoin terms. You think about, oh, I have more Bitcoin. But one last thing, and I'll give it back to you, that in Bulgaria, to make this movie, I really want it to be, okay, let's do that action, but also I had no idea that I'll become a movie producer. Again, one of those things. I have no idea how much it would enrich my life, how much would make me be better into everything else that I'm doing. And I'm on that journey. So I want to really emphasize on anybody that would do something in that is not currently doing anything else than buying, to do something, do anything, and start that journey. That's why it's said the Bulgarian journey, because I do see a future that if this is franchised, even though we're not going to give rights or anything, everything is open source, that there will be another country that would say, build on Bitcoin the Mexican journey, the USA journey, the Suriname journey, the whatever journey. So I would love to be this. It's just a thought. I don't know if it will actually manifest, but that's what I want to see, like building that parallel system. Because if the fiat is struggling somewhere, but you live into that world and you see the price, you see, oh, they changed our law that right now it's no longer a legal tender in our country. So, oh, what are we going to do? If you're in the Bitcoin system, you don't care. You are not asking for permission. You're going to go to the same butcher that is going to accept the sats. You're going to go to the vacation that you play with sats into the not Airbnb but AirBTC. That's another website. I don't know if they're going to be successful. You don't care. You just live your life and you connect to those nice people. And that's what I want to show. That let's get out of the theory that, oh, the theory was very important. I wouldn't be here if I didn't read and listen to all those podcasts. But that's just the superficial stuff. The deepness comes into really unplugging from the matrix. Let me ask you this about the movie. Like, what is your hope for the movie? What would you like to, from your selfish type of perspective, would like to achieve and to give to the world with this story or movie, or how you view it in your mind?
No, I mean, it's already happening, right? I'm already experiencing it. Like what I was saying, like the amount of motivation, the amount of just like fulfillment maybe isn't the right word, but just energy that it brings me to see other people resonating with what we're building here. Ultimately, I think the goal is to inspire curiosity. Like if you you can't bring someone along the Bitcoin rabbit hole all the way through and take them by hand. Like, that person needs to do that for themselves. So if this film inspires somebody to say, well, I need to start this journey myself. And I've seen multiple people in my life that have started that journey, and now they're sending me podcasts. They're saying, Kyle, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Like, that just excites me so much. The other lesson I learned is that just inspiring people is not quite enough. Like, if you just leave someone inspired, that inspiration, it goes away. The fiat world, the realities of daily life just kind of just rub you, just kind of dull your senses to like keeping tapped into that. But if you have a consistent relationship with, let's say it's meetups, or if you have a place that you can go and connect and talk to people, then I think you're much more likely to stay on the path.
I think you need to distinguish that when you give the emotion to somebody else, I think it's more motivation, and motivation is kind of flimsy, but inspiration comes within the person. That means that you gave them the spark and comes within. So that is one thing, at least in my point of view, that inspiration is something that's much more lasting, and it's kind of annoying that if it is real inspiration, because when you're truly inspired, what I have the meaning for that word is that if I don't do my inspiration, it nags me. It says, why are you staying down? Why are you not paying attention to me? Like, and that also fits with your natural gifts and talents, and that's it. But if somebody motivates you, oh, I'm going to pay you something for something, like that's external motivation, and that's not coming within, and that's flimsy. Yeah, it can motivate you for the moment, but the moment that your life gets you back into your schedule, into your rat race, then motivation goes away very fast. But if you're truly inspired, you can't settle anymore. You know more than you're completely different person, and that inspiration leads you to action. That's what I would distinguish. And the other thing, you mentioned something, yeah, about the people that are wacky, weird, and outliers. Going back to Steve Jobs, we mentioned him in the beginning, that in that famous Thinking Different, that the people that are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are really the people that are actually changing it. And I feel that people that will be in this movie are doing it. They may not change the whole world, but I bet that they will change the world of their families, their relatives, the people that are closest to them. And that is good enough. But when you do that on a network level, now we can collectively now completely change the world.
Steve Jobs quote is one of my favorites, and it just kind of ties in a lot of what we've been talking about. But in 2005, he gave this talk at Stanford. He said,
"Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. Because almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart."
Bitcoin to me is the thing that allows people to actually pursue their dreams, or to bring forth their gifts in this one precious life. And the more people that are doing that, I just think it's such a better world to live in. It's not even the future, it's the present. There's people every single day getting off the sidelines and getting in the game. So yeah, that's one of my favorite quotes. And if not you, then who? You know, if you're even just someone, the other day, the guy I had on my podcast, he's like, I've been thinking about starting a podcast. I'm like, do it, man. Just like, if that's really something you want to do, if you say this is like the direction I want to go, then go.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
work will reveal itself if that is the thing. That is also the beautiful thing as a kid. If they start doing something and they don't like it, they stop.
Hmm.
It's really reasonable. You feel that you want to do a podcast, go pursue that thing, put in the work. In the process, you might figure out, oh, it's not really a podcast. Actually, I want to do this other thing that I didn't completely realize. I want to do articles. I want to do in-live interviews. I want to do movies. I want to do clips, whatever. But do the work, and through that journey, you'll find the true essence of what you want to pursue. And that's a continuous process. You're never going, there is no finish line. I love that quote from David Goggins. Like, there is no finish line. And just hop on that train and don't stop walking. Continue doing the work. And in the Bitcoin system, it's a lovely life with beautiful people.
It sure is, man. I didn't really get to ask you, but why do you think Bulgaria is a place that is adopting Bitcoin or utilizing Bitcoin more so than other places? I talked a little bit about how I see the culture there and the people, but from your perspective, like, what's unique about Bulgaria that Bitcoin seems to resonate a bit more?
I really don't know if it is something about the culture. I do believe that we are just pushing people to do stuff. And right now, as we said, we are quite a few people, like very tiny community of doers, but we are infecting the system a lot, and you'll see that quite a few merchants are coming into play. Quite a few other projects are inspired to take action, but we are still a small community. Like, let's say that the real true builders are, how many? Let's not offend some people, but let's say under 50. And the people that are in Bitcoin in a not passive way, but I'm not actively building stuff, but it's beneficial for me. Let's say it's 500. But that is what I want to do. Like, even though we are such a tiny community, those 50 people have a big impact to expand 10x the rest. And those 500 people that are more will affect people to buy some. And those people that would buy some will go down into those other groups that they'll start doing something, they'll start figuring out, they'll connect to the social network again. But with the movie, I hope also that those 50 people, I don't expect to become 5 million, but even if we push it to become more, to be 10% more, that is an exponential effect on everything. Because one person that is building on Bitcoin, I realize from my meetups that is probably 100 times more valuable than somebody buying Bitcoin, because he will affect all sorts of things, all sorts of ways in the positive way, not just, oh, I make Bitcoin more scarce. So that's it. It's not really about the culture, but I have a finger in that thing happening, because I'm kind of pushing and I'm always saying this message, like, do stuff, and I try to help people, but I'm not the only one. But this mentality and this kind of technique is kind of propagating more into our Bitcoin community. So I see that it is growing, because, as I said, probably the Bitcoiners from 3 years ago, that I wouldn't say even Bitcoiners, the people that have Bitcoin since 3 years ago, I don't know if it increased a lot, because we were in a bear market. But I know for certain that in those 3 years during the bear market, the people that are actively doing are more than the people that are waiting for something to happen. So that's really it. It's not really about the culture, but if I want to be patriotic, I would say that our mentality could not be submitted even through 5 centuries of slavery.
So there's this in the U.S. There's we call them social justice warriors. There's people that are very passionate about activism in a lot of different ways, and one of my perspectives is when Bitcoin hits that tipping point where people who are naturally, they see that the world is messed up, they see that there's wars, wealth inequality, these massive issues. You know, people are forced to stay in their country, they can't leave, they're under systems of tyranny and oppression. My perspective is that when Bitcoin becomes known as the solution to many of those things, that there will just be this, we'll hit this tipping point and it'll be like a mass movement where incredibly large amounts of people like get it. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but do you think Bitcoin, like there's one of these things like Bitcoin fixes this, right? What does Bitcoin fix and what does Bitcoin not fix?
Bitcoin fixes a lot. Bitcoin, for me, the biggest thing that it fixes is it fixes the alignment of humanity. I think I said it previously, but that's for me the biggest thing that it fixes. That right now we are anchored to something that we all connect to. And that was one of my articles, the Digital Addiction Pandemic, that everybody is trying to chase this illusional digit, whether it's stock of a company, the fiat price, the loyalty digit, the token in the game, like all sorts of, and that has no base in reality. You're giving your work for some digits to pursue that somebody can create at whim. But Bitcoin now can be into the group of length, temperature, weight. Those are again digits, but they are directly connected to reality. And now value from through the form of Bitcoin will be connected to reality because nobody can manipulate it. And now, just like time and calendars oriented us at the same point and we can coordinate and have a podcast at a particular time. Can you imagine the time before time? It's an interesting sentence, but how would we agree when to eat? Like we would say, oh, when the sun is at the hill or whatever. Like I don't know. It would be a struggle and it would be hard to align. Calendars gave that to us, time gave that to us, temperature, length, time. We have those stuff, but the only really valuable thing was exploitive, was through fiat, through the value, how to measure value. And now we have that thing, and nobody can extract things because the 2% inflation, even if they achieve it, that is still toxic to humanity. That's why I say that fiat is the autoimmune disease into humanity, because autoimmune disease is something that attacks itself. Inflation, that means a small group of people, entity, states or whatever, is attacking our whole human network. Bitcoin will fix this. People will say, well, it's not going to be a melting ice cube. I say it's going to cure the disease of the toxicity of inflation or anything else, and we're going to align. For me, that is the thing that Bitcoin fixes. And what it doesn't fix is that people will realize it without work. Like, you will have to do work in order to realize it. You will not escape the consequences of not realizing it, because the consequences will happen, negative or positive. It doesn't matter if you realize that. It doesn't matter. Bitcoin does not care about me. It does not care about anybody. It just is part of reality how we measure it. Just like if I say, does the 30-inch ruler care about me? No, it really does not. That is the same thing. Bitcoin does not care about us. But when we realize that and we can align getting that toxicity out, that the small group of people can get our resources in a invisible way through printing money, now not only we're going to be cured, but we would love to help each other. And I have no idea how much productivity is going to unleash. Because right now in Africa, I think Bitcoin will manifest not in a price go up. In Africa, they will need much less Bitcoin, but it will manifest in their physical natural life. Now they'll have roads, now they'll have infrastructure, now they will have the things that they want in their life. It's not going to be just a jungle, and that's what I love. But Bitcoin will not fix people staying and waiting. So that kind of aligns with our motivations. Bitcoin fixes that there is no toxicity in this system, but you still have to do the work.
It's a double-edged sword a little bit.
Yeah.
You can't change human nature, but you can change the incentives, I think is a good way to think about it. Like if the incentives of the system are to extract human nature, more people are going to do that. And if they see, hey, someone else is stealing from me, what's wrong with me stealing from someone else, right? So yeah, no, I agree 100%. And I think for me, like the biggest things is just, especially from the US perspective, just the endless wars, the amount of money that gets spent all over the world, misallocated to, basically make life worse for us. Like, even if you are somebody who thinks like, we need to go start a war and drop some bombs, it's like, well, that's actually making your life worse because now there's more people that don't like you, and so I ask people, do you like war? No, most people don't like war. Okay, well, how do wars get funded? Well, they get funded from printing money. So it's a bright orange future, and it's not going to happen without action. Why don't you, because I heard you mention the concept of digit addiction. Did you feel like you had a digit addiction, and did you get rid of that addiction? And, where are you still struggling with the same concept?
I would say previously, before Bitcoin, I did have a digit addiction. And I have a mathematical engineering mind, and I just love it. And business is, for me, the ultimate sport. Entrepreneurship and stuff like that. I was inclined, but I would still was too hardly addicted to chasing the monetary score, how well I am doing. I still value the other stuff, but I recognize that I was still aiming, I want to be a millionaire, I want to be this, or I want to be that. And that is now completely gone after Bitcoin. But I recognize that addiction transfers into Bitcoin also. That, as I said, you are not going to value the proof of work. What I'm doing, with who I'm doing it, and how I spend my skills, my time. We can't spend time, correction, but how we spend our energy through time. But I recognize that people are, again, being addicts by being hodlers. That means you're emphasizing, you're not using the proof of work mechanism that is in Bitcoin in your life, but you're using only the proof of stake mechanism in Bitcoin. People think that there is no proof of stake. There is proof of stake. Every time that you sign a transaction, that means that you proved you have that stake in Bitcoin to pay. So they focus on that. How much is my proof of stake? How much Bitcoin do I have? And you transfer it, and you completely, again, start chasing how many sats you have. And shout out to Matt Odell, that stay humble, stack sats. you don't need to be that addict. Just stay humble, live your life, do the work, lead the life that you want to lead, and use Bitcoin. That is the thing that would lead you there out of that addiction. And the people that are praising the billionaires and all the people that are in Bitcoin, oh, they're so early on stuff like that. Again, you're imposing your fiat view on Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't care. And if you want to get cured, again, it takes action. It takes inner realizations that it's not something from the outside. It's not something that somebody will tell you. You need to realize, what do you actually want? Who are people that you want to be around? And you'll be completely cured when you actually start taking the steps toward the goals that you have for set for yourself. Because the goal to say, oh, I want one Bitcoin, okay, even if it is one, what then? Why do you want it? What do you want to do with it? And what happens if you actually answer that question? Oh, I want one Bitcoin to have this, this, and this. And you start doing the work, you achieve all of that, and you don't have one Bitcoin. Is your life going to be richer? That is the thing that I'm emphasizing in that article, that with ETFs, with banks now holding Bitcoin and stuff like that, again, you're giving that sovereignty and you're giving that power back to, okay, I want to ask permission again from somebody. And when somebody can actually take away all of your goals through some monetary value, even if it is Bitcoin, yeah, you kind of missed the opportunity there. Like, I'm okay trading and stuff like that if that is your profession, but I would say more than 99% of people have no business being in trading. They should lead their life. You want to be a fisherman, you want to be a painter, you want to be a sportsman. Go pursue that and use Bitcoin. You might never get to 0.1 Bitcoin, but if you achieve what you want to achieve, it wouldn't matter. And if you actually achieve one Bitcoin and you die before you achieve your life goals, did you lead life the way that you wanted, or you pray to the Bitcoin gods? Like that is really what I'm describing in that article. Like, chase the real stuff, but the real stuff, temperature, length, Bitcoin, use it for real life goals that you have, your own goals, not somebody else's.
Thank you for that. I like getting it straight from the horse's mouth, because the idea gets translated to me, then I translate it to someone else. The way that I have seen it in my own life is in athletics, right? Because I ride my bike, or I go bouldering, and there's a grade on every single route that I climb. There's a speed of every single segment that I ride. And so, I fall into this addiction, which addiction, I didn't look it up, but I believe the definition of addiction is that it has a negative impact on your life, versus dependence or something else, where you're dependent on something. Like, I'm dependent on working out, but it doesn't have a negative impact on my life. If it did, that would be an addiction. But I've realized that my body is not always going to be at the same level that it is today. I'm 30 years old. And so the real reason to move and to be fit and to take care of your health is not to just make that number go up. I want to climb a V7, a V8. That's how they grade these things, which I do. I definitely do, because it's like you can see your improvement. There's something exciting about that. But it almost takes away from just the beauty or the enjoyment of doing the thing for the sake of it, right? And so, yeah, when I've had a bit of a shift, especially since last year, just getting on my bike and riding hundreds of miles for days at a time just by myself. It's like, I'm in no rush. No one cares how fast I go. Like, I'm just going to stop at this stream and drink some water, enjoy the moment. And I think that's gonna lead to more fulfillment. At least it has so far, than just being so addicted to just constantly getting that number to go up. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think a very how do I say, telling thing if you're addicted is, do you know why you're doing it? If you actually know why you're doing, even if your chase, like you said, you want to do a V6, V8, like all those measurements, oh, I want to achieve this. If you know why, that's a goal to pursue. That's perfectly fine. You're not addicted to it blindlessly, and you don't know why you're doing, and kind of life happens to you. You're not a driving force, but that's what I would say. Like, you have to know why, because there's nothing bad at, okay, I want to get to 1 Bitcoin because really that will help me achieve those things. But if you know why, you can pursue those things simultaneously. And again, if you achieve one before the other, like, the life is more important. If you want to achieve the categorization of the climbing V6, okay, but if you climb V4, I don't know which is the higher.
The higher the number, the harder it gets, man.
Okay, yeah. If you do V8 and actually, yeah, that would require, let's say, 5 years of more work into this, and after 5 years, oh, you say that was a waste. Like, constantly ask yourself, why this and that, and what am I pursuing? Not just blindlessly get into the addiction of pursuing any type of digit and anything in life. I would say I have a very addictive type of mentality. I get addicted to stuff, but the good thing that Bitcoin gave me is that now I don't chase it really blindly, the digit, but I would say that I would do this in the movie actually. This is an important thing for me, but what I would say here is that I very passionately and addictively chase a life that I want to give to my kids. So, yeah, it's not a digit. You cannot even measure this, because what's a good life? You have no idea. And I'd love to pursue that thing, and it's a mission. And I know that because of Bitcoin, now I can actually achieve this into my own criteria, because in the other system it is just such a struggle. I'm not only pursuing what I want to pursue, I just have to deal with all the toxicity, and I have to manage all the purchasing power that is taken away, which means that they are taking away my energy.
If you could give one message, let's hypothetically say that you die between now and when your kid is 18 years old, call it. If you could give one message to your child from the other side, man, while you're not here, what would you say? It's a heavy question.
I would say justice is an illusion. That's this is what I learned through my experience in the justice system with my mother, what I had to deal after the fact. And justice is an illusion. And you should pursue real things. That the illusionary things, even that what I talked about, the digit addictions, pursue the things that you want, but not only that, recognize what is real, what is an illusion, because if you want to make the world just, that's, you lost the battle there, and you will suffer, because the world is not just, it just has consequences. It has cause and an effect out of it. So recognize the thing that you want are an illusion in the future that you don't yet have, but spend your time in the real life pursuing those illusions, because that would lead you to having a good life. Don't expect the life to be just, because it simply isn't.
And if anyone wants to hear that whole story, you told it on the podcast episode number 3. Ivan, I want to just, before we wrap up here, pull up one last time. If anyone's listened this far, you're a huge supporter of us already, but I just want to show one more time if the 2 different levels of rewards for the film. And there's many more ways you can help us with this film. You can share it. You can introduce us to people who might be also passionate about similar concepts. But $89, you'll get actually listed in the film. I don't think you mentioned that earlier. So every single person who donates $89, I believe there's 1 or 2 that did not before we put this reward up. So we'll get them in there as well. And for $500, you'll be in the theater with us next year in Sofia, Bulgaria. So just want to say,
in the project, if you click there in the beginning, that you can follow our progress there, because we'll put in videos, and what you put in so far, it's really good. Things that are coming along, that you can follow the progress, not only on this podcast, but there, what's happening. And one of the things that, that we'll start actually executing the project more intensely is, you'll come after Prague. So let's say at the end of June, the journey will start. I do envision a small clip where we welcome you to Bulgaria from the plane coming in. So that is probably going to be the last Geyser video pre-production. So from then on, the real work will happen to actually go around every merchant, every project, every person that is building on Bitcoin here in Bulgaria, and to say it in a nice way. There's still a lot of unknowns, even though I'm writing a script and stuff like that in my mind. I would say this: I would never have gotten on this journey if I don't believe we can make something special. Yes, the goal is to make the best movie ever, but even if we fail at this, because we are setting that standard, I think somebody else will be inspired to make that best movie and to win even awards in the fiat world. But I think the life will get exciting for all the Bitcoiners, and we just have a small window of opportunity to say a story of the people that were in the beginning.
Absolutely. And again, I'm also thinking through how this thing is going to come together, and I think we have a very aligned vision, but at the same time, you never know what's actually going to transpire when I'm there, when I'm on the ground. That's the beauty of documentary filmmaking, is you just don't know what's going to happen. So you guys are doing a fantastic job of just really preparing everything, like putting us in a position to be successful. There's no such, we can't rely on luck, but what we can do is prepare to be ready for whatever happens. And thank you very much. And any final words?
Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go, man.